Hold down, man, suitcase this, my cell phone and my charger don't walk with a limp. Get it knocked off or missing, you gon' get it. Next time I see you ass, you gon' leave airlift. TV in the house, man. Hey, y'all go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button and make sure you hit that notification bell so you can see it first. All right, so today here I'm gonna get on a little touchy topic or whatnot. I want to break it down to y'all how it was for me when I first, came back into society, when I finally got released after doing a 5-year sentence in the Department of Corrections. Now, of course, everybody's is going to be different, but I just want to break it down to y'all and show y'all the way that the world works. And sometimes it ain't your fault, when you get put into certain situations. So I'm going to go ahead and break it down to y'all. All right. Now, for those that don't know, I got a little brother. And my little brother Kyle or whatnot, he didn't grow up in my neighborhood like I did. He actually, grew up somewhere else, up top, kind of like by Palm Beach. He still grew up in Florida. He came, like, when he was, 8 years old or whatever, his mom took him, he went up there. He was raised by his mom. He came back when he was 18 years old, When he came down here to live with me and my dad and stuff like that or whatever at 18, of course, I was in the county jail or whatever. I had already started getting in trouble. So for the most part, he always wanted to, he loved Big Bruh, you know what I'm saying? He loved Big Bruh, I was his superhero and everything like that, And when I say I was, I mean, he's still here. He's not gone or nothing like that. He isn't dead or anything, but just the way I'm speaking on it. So, for the most part, he always wanted to be, he wanted to make Big Bruh proud. He always wanted, he would do anything. He would go head on against a damn bull if he could, just to prove to Frog, look, Frog, I'll do it, So for the most part, he's bigger than me. I'm smaller than him. So I'm little Big Bruh. He'll be like, what's up, little big brother? You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, so, like I said, he came down when he was 18 or whatever. Me, I was already on my road to prison. And then, he wanted to live the lifestyle that I grew up living. So he came to Davie, Florida, where I'm from, started hanging out, being in the streets and stuff like that. And before I went to prison, he would actually run away from where he was at up there by Palm Beach or whatever. I mean, he was farther than that, but Fort Myers area. And he would run down to Broward, to Davie, where I'm from. And he'd rather be homeless running around in my neighborhood than to have a place to stay up there. I always kept him with me before I went to prison, like any hotel I went to, hopping from female to female, like in and out of hotel rooms and stuff. I always, boom, my little brother coming, my little brother coming, because I felt like it was on me to take care of him because he had nowhere to stay down here. You get what I'm saying? Like, he would hang out in traps, people's traps houses and stuff in my neighborhood. When I couldn't be there, I would literally pay people, hey, look, bro, just let him stay here for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? That's my little brother, bro. Don't let him know I paid you or whatever, but, hang out and that's my little brother. You feel me? So, things like that or whatever. So, like I said, for the most part, he always looked up to me. He posted more pictures of me online than he posted of himself. And he was truly my number one fan, So anyways, so now when I go to prison or whatever, he comes back down to Davie and he starts hanging out, wheeling and dealing or whatever, hanging out with people and shit like that. And he's getting into the lifestyle that I was grown up in. Okay. So, now, whether it's hustling, trapping, doing whatever he was doing, so he started hanging out with the wrong people. He started hustling and, he got Davie huge across his back or whatever, he's starting to see the lifestyle that I went through that led me in prison while I was in prison. Okay. So, now, he was on the run or whatever. He literally had to go to jail or whatever and shit like that. He done been 3 or 4 times or whatever. And then, his biggest fear was not being out here, when I got released, cause I've been gone 5 years. So he wanted to see me. He told everyone else, all my homeboys, everyone else in the family, I want to be out here for Frog. I want to be out here when Frog comes home, shit like that. So he made it his goal to go on the run and instead of turning himself in, cause he was worried he wanted to get out in time. So next thing you know, when I get out or whatever, you know, like I said, he's been down here hanging out with people and shit like that. He was known. He had a name down here now and everything. So once I come home, the day I get out, he's like, Frog, come get me, bro. Da, 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 blase, squaze. So I drive all the way up top to where he was, you know, to pick him up. It's my little brother. I ain't seen him in years. You know, he's happy as hell to see me. You know, I go up there and me not knowing, you know, he's on house arrest. So when I get up there, here he comes, jumping the gate, comes running, jumps in the vehicle or whatever, you know, and he's ready to go to Broward. And you know, he had an anklet on his foot. So, you know, long story short, we cut the anklet off. Okay, he wanted the anklet gone, so the anklet was removed. He cut the anklet off.
KFROG TV, bitch. My dog said, fuck the anklet.
I ain't about 24 hours, bitch.
He said, fuck the anklet, ain't it?
Get that shit, nigga. Cut that shit, nigga. Man, that shit... that shit ain't coming off, bro.
This is when I first reunited with my little brother, you know, after all these years. I mean, he came and visited me one time in prison, but then after that, he was, you know, on the run. So he couldn't come visit me. You know, he was growing up faster when I was in prison. You know, like he was like going through exactly the type of shit that I was going through. Whether it was, you know, tricking, hustling, getting in fights. You know, I'm always hearing things about him in the streets when I call home. You know, he was making a name for himself. He was known as Frog's little brother, but then he started making his own name. Everybody knew, you know what I'm saying? So, now, once we come back down to Broward or whatever, you know, like I said, I went and got him the day after I came home or whatever. We drove back down to Broward. Now, this is when the society really hit. All right, so one like 2-3 days later or whatever, it's a total of my 5th day out of prison. My 5th day out of prison, you know, I'm calling him. He's not answering the phone. I'm like, all right. So it's like 7 o'clock at night. I ain't seen him since 11 o'clock the night before, and I'm like, man, this ain't normally Kyle right here, you know. So I'm like, man, I'm calling him. I'm like, man, this normally ain't him. He usually blows my phone up like ridiculously. So I'm calling him. He don't answer. So I'm like, all right, fuck it. I'm gonna go over here to this little female's house. He's crashing at her crib or whatever. He's been fucking with her, whatever. You know, she was a trick, but you know, he just, you know, he fell for her or whatever. You feel me? So he's over there, you know, and when I go there, I knock on the door. Boom, boom, boom. You know, knock on the door again. The girl opens the door or whatever. And when the girl opens the door or whatever, she's straightening her hair. She's like, oh, Kyle's in there. He won't wake up. So I'm like, what you mean he won't wake up? You know, she didn't say it like anything was wrong. She said it more like, you know, I tried to wake Kyle up, but he ain't getting up. So I'm like, she's like, you can go try if you want. Like, she wasn't worried about nothing. So when I go in there, you know, this is exactly how I found my brother.
Slide up on your dumb ass.
Yo. God.
As you see, when I went in there, whatever, you know, I was on that playful shit. Like, man, get up, man, get your ass, you know, like thinking everything was cool, fine and dandy, and it was a fun game and all that or whatnot. All right, now, this is, like I said, this is when society really hit. Well, he wasn't waking up or whatever for the most part. So then when I start trying to get him up, he's not waking up. So when I look over, I catch the female grabbing a bag of syringes and running into the kitchen. So I'm like, what the? So I run over there after her. You know, I start screaming at her or whatever. Man, what the fuck happened to my brother? Da, da, da. I'm booting up on her. My homeboy that was there ends up calling the ambulance, shit like that. And we find out that she set him up. She had like 4 or 5 dudes come in there or whatever and shit like that. They literally jumped my brother because they wanted his drugs that he was selling, you know, his work and everything like that. She was a trick, so she set him up or whatever. And they actually jumped him. They held him down and they stabbed him 5 times and tried to take his life with acetone. If no one knows what acetone is, You know, just Google it and look it up. But that's what they stabbed my brother with several times trying to take his life. My little brother. They stabbed him with acetone and everything like that. And when he was laying there and he was making a breathing noise. His arm was like hard as a rock, his arm. So the ambulance come and shit like that. I'm freaking out, you know. Now, due to this situation, it got me in some shit in the streets. I was fully out for whatever, and I was out looking and getting involved in stuff. So it just shows that it isn't your fault that you get put in bad situations and may have to put your freedom back at risk. All right, because me, I had no choice. That's my little brother. You get what I'm saying? And about my little brother, I'm not only going to ride about him, but I'm going to apply that pressure, and I'm going to come around and make noise looking for what happened to my little brother. So next thing you know, shit started going on in the neighborhood. You know, my little brother's in the hospital. They're saying he might not make it, you know, stuff like this. And I don't know what to think, you know. So for the most part, next thing I know, detectives started calling my cell phone. I had to change my cell phone number like 4 or 5 times because I'd answer it and then they'd be like, yeah, this is such and such from the Davie Police Department. And I'd hang up and then they'd call back. I'd make my girl answer the phone and they'd say, oh, we know he just answered. We know he's there. Just let him know we don't want to have to arrest him behind this case. We know he just got out. Blase, squaze, blase, you know. And it put me in a bad, tight situation just due to the fact that's my little brother. And I'm going to risk my freedom about my little brother. But the hard part is all the police knew me. So it was no secret that I was home now. So it was like I just came home. This happened to my little brother. All eyes are on me. You understand? All eyes. I got detectives calling my phones. They're getting my numbers from somewhere. I couldn't trust nobody. I didn't, you know, it was just so, I felt so betrayed by people. Okay? And come to find out, you know, it wasn't no one that I was cool with. It was people that, you know, he ended up going around while I was gone. But it just shows how nitty-gritty and nasty my neighborhood is, because this isn't the first incident that shit like this has happened in my neighborhood. When we were younger, shit like this used to happen, you know, to different people. So, but it just hit so close at home. It was my little brother, and I literally just came home from prison. So my little brother, you know, he gets put in the hospital. Okay. Now, why he's in the hospital, it's a more fucked up situation than probably how I'm explaining it. All right. Now, when he got put in the hospital, they're saying that he might not make it. Okay. He had a big old like from a brick. Supposedly he got hit by a brick. He had a big old chunk missing on his head right here, you know, and stuff like that. And to this day, he has like a scar right here across his forehead real big where his hair doesn't grow. All right. And when he was in the hospital, you know, he was like in a coma for like 4 or 5 months. Like he wasn't pulling through, you know, like he was literally there. And when he would like, when he would speak to us, you know, his brain wasn't catching back on with what was going on. He was, you know, kind of like brain dead in a type of way, you know. And then I would go up to him, you know, and I'd speak to him and I'd be like, Kyle, you got to tell me who did this. You feel me? You got to speak to me, bro. Speak to me. And he would look at me and he would just cry. You feel me? Like he didn't, because he knows big bro was going to handle it. You feel me? But anyways, fuck. It's a tough one, boy. But anyway, so his biggest fear, I mean, he wasn't really all the way there, like, as far as like, you know, what had happened. But I knew he knew. You feel me? So like, here I'm fresh out of prison and I ain't care. You feel me? I had already lost my old boy. So the only way they could save his life is they had to remove one of his arms from where they stabbed him up with acetone. So now he's only got one arm. You know, and a lot of people don't know this about my little brother, you feel me? I mean, people that know me know, but anyways. So my little brother, he's got one arm now from this shit that happened in my neighborhood. You know, and it just shows, you know, wanting to thug it, you know, and wanting to grow up in the hood or whatever, you know. The hood isn't always good for you. You see what I'm saying? So it's just mind blowing to me because his life's totally different now. He doesn't live down here with me or nothing like that. He's somewhere else, you know, but it's fucked up because, you know, even to this day, when I speak to him, he's always like, bro, when you gonna let me come live with you, bro? When you gonna come let me like, he always wants to, you know, he wants to prove, you know, big bro that, you know, he's gonna go, you know, that I don't need no one else in the world. I got a little bro. Feel me? So, I just wanted to get that out and let y'all know what happened when I first had to adapt to society. A lot of people don't know this shit, but I almost blew it. You feel me? I dropped KFROG TV 1 and 2. I dropped KFROG TV 1 and 2 on YouTube. So that shit hit the news. This happened to my little brother. Everybody knew I was out. It was just so fucked up, and so much, the world was on my shoulders. You know? That's why I fell back and didn't come on YouTube for over a year after I dropped those videos. You know, I needed some time to, you get what I'm saying? I needed some time because I didn't know which route it was going to end up being. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, my brother, to this day, you know, he's still at high spirits. You know, he's still, you know, he's came back a lot more from what he once was at. Okay, like, you know, he still will forget things that he said to you and you know, shit like that. But there's certain things where I know that's still my little brother. You feel me? But anyways, I just want to let y'all know how it was when I first got out of prison. When it was like, welcome back to society. I'm gonna make sure I put some videos or whatever of me and my little brother, you know, like, you know, I wanted to say, you know, like, picked on him. You know, of course I picked on him a little bit. You know, that's my little brother, man. I had to toughen him up or whatever. When he first came down to Davie, you know, he wore Vans, you know, and skinny jeans, and, you know, he wore truck fit and stuff like that. And he wasn't really, you know, down with the way that we were around where I grew up at. You know, we wore Reeboks, you know, Jabos and Dickies and Air Forces, you know, different or whatever. So at the end of the video, I want to make sure I throw, you know, some, you know, videos to show you how we had a little playful thing. I always would catch him slipping. And, you know, that's my little brother, man. You know, it toughened him up because he ended up banging people up in the neighborhood when he goes to fight. He ended up, like, whooping people, you know, like, for real. And he was on, like, a thing, like, you know, he'd get into it with people in my neighborhood, and he'd tell me, "Bro, I don't want to fight your homeboy." And then I'd be like, "Man, you got to show him, Kyle. You got to show him, bro. Show him that shit ain't sweet. Show him that shit ain't pussy." And he's like, "Yeah, dog, but where I grew up, bro, we don't fight our friends." And I said, "Well, look, down here in Davie, you know, you could be getting money and hanging out and grew up with someone 8, 9, 10 years. Next thing you know, y'all trying to hit each other in the head with bottles and hitting each other with damn, you know, all types of shit, you know, bricks, you know, like, it's all just different down here, bro. Sometimes you got to show them, you know." So I'm just going to throw a little bit of videos of me and my little brother at the end of the video or whatnot, you feel me? You know, this is a touchy topic right here, a touchy subject. You know, like I said, you know, I was kind of like put in a tight spot and had a lot going on. That's why I really wasn't on here for a whole year after I posted Volume 1 and Volume 2. But, you know, my brother's in good health right now, you know, and he's living his life to the fullest. And I just want to thank God that he's still here with me. But y'all hit that like and subscribe button. I appreciate everybody that's been rocking with me. You already know, man, that's Frog.
Hey, what is your wrestling name?
Beast Mode Armstrong in the building, nigga.
Hold on, from where? From where, bro? Where you from?
AV, nigga.
All right, all right. Tell him what to do, my nigga.
AV, nigga.
Fuck out my face.